Tiberius faced down the 4 ghasts in the cargo hold of the Emperor of the Waves. He beat a hasty retreat to the ladder and managed to escape their grasping claws. Alerting the others to the presence of the undead, you laid an ambush and slew the beasts as they emerged from below, though Atticus was temporarily paralysed in the fight. After a short rest, you continued your exploration of the cargo hold and located Mormac's box, which was incredibly heavy and difficult to move. And as Atticus went to pick up the box, all hell broke loose. An ancient giant octopus, perhaps attracted by the sounds of the earlier combat, attacked, smashing huge holes in the Emperor's hull, flooding the ship with seawater. A tense race against time began and the lower decks became flooded. Most of the party headed out of the ship via the holes made in the hull by the writhing tentacles of the octopus, Hecate using her mystic abilities to transform and gain the ability to breathe underwater. Unfortunately, once the box was out of the hold of the ship and into the roiling open waters of the ocean, it became extremely difficult to hold on to, and it kept slipping from their grasp and sinking quickly. Meanwhile, Tiberius was fighting his way off the ship through the middle of a Moor demon. Eventually, after a stressful fight against the ocean, you managed to recover Mormac's box through sheer tenacity and teamwork. The Emperor of the Waves finally sank, dragged down by the huge octopus. Heading back to Saltmarsh, you sighted a low-flying meteor that streaked through the skies overhead at great speed, but you arrived safely home. The next day was spent recovering and doing some further research into the meteor and the black tide. Gellan and Mormac, overjoyed at the recovery of the box, invited you all aboard a cruise on Gellan's own pleasure yacht to celebrate, along with some of his friends. And so you gathered on the beautiful ship, heading out for what would hopefully be a much less eventful voyage than the last. So, you find yourself on deck of the Primewater Pleasure. Urgaub, the orcish chef, has just delivered drinks. You see Misty at the helm of the ship with her pink tricorn hat. Mormac and Gellan are chatting against one of the rails. Wardell, the Commodore, has brought out a table and he's laying it out with some cards and coins, and Father Hayward is joining him there. I'm just turning the music off there. Gellan shouts out, "Everybody, dinner will be ready in a few hours. Please enjoy the voyage."
Captain's name again, Misty...
Misty Swale.
That's it, Swale.
Wonderful.
And the ship heads out of Saltmarsh Harbour and into the open ocean. It's a lovely day. There's a few clouds on the horizon. Wardell and Hayward and Commodore Warrington wave at you. Would any of you be wanting to join us for a game of cards?
Maybe another time, and Tiberius will make his way back to the bow of the boat and sort of find a perch and look back at the wake of the boat.
Okay.
Just contemplate how the fuck we managed to get out of that.
Everybody roll a perception check for me, please.
I just need a bit of a moment.
Okay, Tiberius and Kat, you noticed that Gellan and Mormac chatting against the port rail of the ship seem to be having quite a heated conversation.
What do you think they're talking about, Tiberius?
Might be a little worried about the danger involved in path that our current course takes us. I don't know. Who knows? What could they be squabbling over, though?
Well, it could have something to do with that meat tool that we saw yesterday. I'll point it out to the others as well.
Okay.
Maybe it was a successful mission.
Hey, we're taking.
Mormac standing.
Mormac and Gellan are both standing against the port rail of the ship on the left-hand side, roughly in the middle of the main deck.
I'll edge closer, just to...
Is it near the mast and those weird rigging things that I saw?
Yeah, it's not far.
I'm going to go over and have a look at them and
Okay.
listen in.
The ropes attaching the rigging have now been locked in place by some clamps that have come down. Now that the sail's billowing in the winds and driving the ship forwards. You can make a perception check at disadvantage for me, please, Atticus. And Rodri, you said you were getting closer. They're speaking in quite low voices. Mormac's waving his arms around. And Rodri, did you say you were getting closer? Hello?
Rodri.
Rodri?
Can't hear you, Roderick.
Rodri's gone silent.
Sorry.
He's rage quit already.
No. I just had to nip off, sorry.
Oh, okay. Did you say you were getting closer to them?
Yes.
Yeah, you can make a perception at disadvantage. They're talking in very low, hushed
Right.
voices.
This isn't...
Okay, neither of you can quite make out what they're saying over the rushing of the waves, the cawing of the gulls, and the snapping of the sails.
Should I make use insight just to see how heated it is, if it's something we've got to worry about?
Yeah.
That's just my concern.
Okay, you made a good roll, Rodri. Gellan is smiling his normal disarming, charming sort of smile. Seems to be trying to placate Mormac, who appears to be more irritated than angry.
Right. Oh, well, I'll leave the boys to their
Captain Swale
disagreements.
walks down some of the stairs from the poop deck, comes and stands next to you, Atticus.
Yeah. Captain.
Commander, I have something for you.
I will around here.
Maybe you should join me on the poop deck. And she flashes you a sign with her fingers, telling you it's seeker business.
Okay. I'll wander over with her. So, how's the weather looking?
I think we will be in for a pleasant trip. Maybe a bit of rain this evening.
What's the destination?
Oh, we're just heading out towards Tinamore for a day or two, and then circling around and coming back. She passes something into your hand as you're standing behind the wheel,
Yeah.
so that no one else can see it. It's a folded piece of parchment.
Okay. Sorry, just hang on 1 second. I've got to open the front door.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Oh, I folded peach.
How
Fruit origami.
How do you fold a peach?
Depends how
With
ripe
great-
it is.
With great difficulty.
It's already got a crease in it.
Pocket it.
You look at it.
Yeah, I'm using my body to shield, obviously,
Okay.
from everybody else.
Do you want me to share it with everyone or just with you?
You can share it You can share it with everyone if you want. It's just, guys, remember you don't know any of this when you play role playing.
Tiberius winks at Atticus.
Righty.
She says to you.
No, I'm saying that you Mark to Rich, not to Atticus.
She lowers her voice and says, "Your time at Saltmarsh might be coming to an end. I would say you have a week, maybe. Maybe tie up any loose ends you have. I'm sure you'll be heading back, but I will be keeping an eye on things until you return."
Make sure I'll loot. Oh, I'm not talking to you.
You can make an intelligence check at advantage, Mark, regarding the note with your background.
A double one.
Advantage.
Hey, you guys!
So soon, I've only been here.
I suppose you think that was terribly clever.
Looking at that code, you recognise it immediately as a code that's often used by the Seekers. It's a ROT 13 code.
Alrighty.
No
No worries. Thank
know
you.
what one of those is, I presume.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, it seems to me that there might be more work here than we thought. And I've not finished this mission yet.
Like I say, you have a week or so once we get back to shore, I think. Okay, Misty leaves you on the poop deck and wanders down, starts setting up a target on the deck. You notice that she has she's wearing a bandolier with 3 distinct daggers tucked into it. You also notice that there's a few empty sheaths on her bandolier as well, and she starts throwing daggers at the target.
Okay.
So, would anyone like to do anything before dinner? You've got few hours to spend on deck. You could join the father and Wardell for cards. You could do a spot of fishing. You could have a go at throwing some daggers at the target.
Yeah, I'll go chuck some daggers.
I wouldn't mind to join the father.
Okay.
Yours is cool. You don't have to even walk back to the target to pick yours out.
Just keep lobbing it.
Dagger throwing.
Okay, Misty takes one of her 3 daggers out of her bandolier. She holds the blade in her hand and throws it at the target. The target's a typical archery target with a white, black, blue, red, and yellow rings on it. She looks over at you, Tiberius. Fancy a wager?
Sure.
Should
The ball wins.
we say 5 silver?
Sounds good.
Okay. Would you care to go first? Best of 3?
Don't mind if I do. Okay, I will pull out one of my daggers from my belt.
Mm-hmm.
Then go into an acrobatic flip! Gonna make me roll.
Let's work this code out.
The rocking of the ship means that you slip on a slight puddle of damp seawater, but you manage to catch yourself and just hold
Okay.
your without falling on your arse.
I'm gonna put the dagger.
Okay, you're going to throw your dagger. Make an attack roll. It's D20 plus your dex, plus if you're proficient with daggers, you can add your proficiency as well.
Yeah, I'll just use my dagger roll, eh?
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, your
as I fall on my arse. Whoop.
your first throw flies unerringly across the deck and thuds into the yellow bullseye of the target. Misty looks over at you and raises an eyebrow.
I'll just giggle.
Very impressive for your first throw. My turn. Okay. Okay, she's going to have +2 to this. Her first throw lands in the black outer ring. 3 points to me, 10 points to you after one throw.
Double or quits. Oh, sorry, I thought we were playing 5 silver around.
Best of 3, I said.
Oh, after you.
Okay. She bites one side of her lip as she takes aim with her second throw. The second throw goes into the blue ring. 5 points. That's 8 total for me.
Okay, Tiberius is gonna now do a handstand.
Okay.
Another acrobatics roll. On a moving ship.
Okay. It takes you a couple of goes. Your first attempt, your legs sway in the air and then flump back to the deck, but eventually you do it. You're managing to stand on your hands.
Okay, here we go.
I want this roll at disadvantage, seeing as you're doing a handstand at the same time.
Oh, brilliant.
I've lost my
Oh!
You still manage to hit the black outer ring.
I'll just laugh.
And 3 points. I'm very impressed. Last throw. She takes aim. It's another black. Looks like you've won, Mr. Grey Wolf. Don't know why I did a constitution check then. It's the same. It's the same number anyway. So.
I believe that'll be 5 silver.
She hands over the 5 silver.
Understood.
What do you say to double or nothing from double the distance?
Sure.
Okay. She moves the target back 30 feet. It's up near the capstan now. After you.
Well, if I must take your money.
These rolls are at disadvantage because they're past the minimum throwing distance of daggers. Wow. Okay, the dagger flies across even at this distance and thuds into the red ring, just the one surrounding the bullseye. I can see I'm going to have to throw well to win my money back. That's 7 points. She takes aim. Now, she doesn't get it at disadvantage because she's a sharpshooter.
Oh, you've been rumbled, mate. You've been hard.
You've been swindled.
I don't mind. I was thinking
So
about
14
it.
plus 2, 16. Her dagger also lands in the red circle. She goes and retrieves the daggers. Second throw, Mr. Grey Wolf.
I see.
This is a disadvantage.
I see you're a little short-sighted. There we go. Oh, just... Oh! No!
13. Okay, this one goes, it's not quite as good. It goes into the blue ring, which is the one surrounding the red ring. 5 points. She takes aim herself. Oh dear. The gods aren't smiling on me today, she says as her dagger plunges into the black outer ring. 10 plays 12 with the final throw.
Okay. Oh, sorry, it's got a bit disadvantage. Oh, God.
So that was a 2 and a 9. So 8 goes into the black outer ring, which is 3 points.
Pretty close.
So she needs a blue to draw. Let's see what she gets.
Okay.
But she only gets it in the black outer ring.
Been duped, have I?
She looks slightly crestfallen, hands her over another 5 silver pieces, so you have an extra 10 silver
No.
pieces.
Yeah. Never bet with a gnome.
You sit down at the card table, and the Wardell Warrington, the Commodore, says, you're joining us for some cards.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yes.
The more the merrier, says Father Hayward. As you take your seat at the table, everything suddenly falls silent. Cat, your danger sense kicks in like you've never felt it before.
Oh, Jesus.
It's actually incredibly painful.
Ooh.
You almost double up in pain. The surface of the ocean seems to bulge upwards in a great arc several hundred feet across. In the water you see a shadow of something huge. No, not huge, the word doesn't suffice. Something gargantuan is passing under the vessel. The cawing gulls that have been tailing the ship seem to have dispersed. Even the sounds of the waves lashing the hull and the snap of the sails in the wind seem suddenly muted. Oh, by the Stormlord, no! Father Hayward backs away, knocking his chair over, his eyes wide and deathly pale. Everyone's in silent. The only sound is the sound of Carmilla quietly sobbing. Father Hayward falls to his knees, his head pressed against the deck as he utters prayers. Then, after a breathless moment, it's gone. The shadow dives, the ship sinks back, and the gulls start to caw again.
The Kraken.
What on earth's the matter, Father?
He takes a moment to compose himself.
So I'm like keeled over on the deck at this point.
Yeah, a cat's fallen over on the deck, rolling around in pain. The father looks very pale. I do believe Slocrethil himself just passed by the ship.
Who?
The great Kraken Lord, the king of the trackless depths.
It seemed you had no business with us. Or quarrel, for that matter, and I'm good with that. Don't know about you lot, but I've had my fill of sea monsters.
He looks up and sees Cat on the deck. Oh, my dear, are you okay? He rushes over and starts looking at you to see if you're injured.
Oh, no, I'm okay now, it's gone. What was that thing?
That was Slocrethil. He's the king of the Azure Sea. He hadn't been seen for decades until recently, if the scuttlebutt around port's to be believed. But he's king of the Krakens.
There's more of those things?
Oh yes, though not nearly of such a size, and the others don't cast magic spells like Slocrethil is said to do.
Oh, well, he's gone now.
Let's
Okay,
just be
so
thankful.
don't worry about that. Let's just resume what we were doing. Move on.
Are you sure it's still safe to sail? I mean,
No lasting psychological effects at all.
is it still safe to be on these waters?
This is the Azure Sea, son. It's never perfectly safe to be on these waters. But
Then
he's
why
passed
are we
us
here?
by. Don't fear. This is the realm of my master, the great Stormlord himself.
Okay. And he likes you, does he? Please say yes.
I don't know if like is the right term. I might be one of his favourite flock.
That does it for me. Good.
But even the shepherd will take sheep for the slaughter from time to time.
You had to ruin it, didn't you?
Everyone's slightly quiet and nervous on the ship as he comes over and he apologises to you, Rodri, and to the Commodore, and they set their he sets his seat back up at the table. So, what are we playing?
It's just like that. I don't know.
The Commodore takes a little pouch out and drops it on the table. And there's a slight clink as he drops it down. What do you say to a game of Kobold's Knuckles? He opens the pouch up and tips some dice out onto the desk.
I've never heard of that. I must admit, I'm something of a novice with cards, so this came down for the conversation. But if you don't mind a novice joining you...
Well, why don't we play with these dice? It's a little fairer for someone who doesn't know the card games.
Sure, that sounds good.
Should we say 25 silver buy-in?
Neil, can I see all of this happening? And I wander over to the table
Yeah.
and I want to do an insight check maybe on the dice, just to see if there's anything dodgy about them.
Yeah, they're eyeballs.
Okay, yeah, roll an insight check.
See if they're like loaded.
I mean, he's only tipped the dice out onto the table. It's very difficult to tell just from that one action. But the Commodore doesn't appear to be shifty or trying to gain anything.
I'm going to continue to watch and just see what happens.
Okay. So, I will be the house. I'll roll the first 2 dice, and you roll yours, add them together. Now, if I have 17 to 21 on the dice, I must keep my total. If I have less than 17, I must roll another dice. You can hit my target by rolling additional dice to your own to try and reach 21 or beat the house. Any players that beat the house split the pot.
Right. Okay.
Okay, he rolls his 2 dice.
Clueless.
He rolls a 15, which means he rolls another one.
Not coming across, don't worry, Rodri.
So, the house rolls 19. Oh, that's a good roll. That is the Wardle. Rodri, would you care to go first?
So it's two
2d10.
of these things.
Yeah.
Two of these things.
You have to try and beat the house or hit 21. If you get less than 17, you can roll an extra die if you choose. But if you go over 21, you go bust.
And just throw them on the table. Right. Oh. Extra dice. Another extra dice?
Well, that's your decision. But you haven't won anything if you don't.
16. One more. Oh, I think I'll stick at 20, thank you.
Beginner's luck, maybe.
Yeah.
My turn.
Someone's smiling on me.
Oh, now what do I do here? I've got to go for it. He goes and rolls another dice. Ah, just my luck.
Oh.
Beginner's luck indeed. Oh, congratulations, Mr. Mulwith. You win the pot. So that's an extra 50 silver.
An extra 50 silver. Wow. And you're playing this until dinner, are you?
So, it's up to you what you want to do. You can carry on playing dice. We won't roll through every hand.
I'll just chat with them and just.
Let's play it in real time.
For the next 3 hours, we're just rolling d10s.
Yeah. No, I'll just chat and shoot the breeze and win and lose and win.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, you break even over the rest of the remaining time. Is there anything in particular you wish to discuss?
I just wonder, Father, have you noticed any unusual activity in the ether, or any rumours about goings on under the sea that you might find worrying? It seems to me that there's certain activity is
I've heard
Coming-
rumour
maybe
about
coming
stuff
to a
going
head.
on at the council house. We had that strange storm a month or so back. And there's usual rumours. There's been more rumours than usual. Some sightings of Slarky.
not seen for decades, and seen now. We had that big meteor going across, and then there's the our friends from the swamp talking about the peoples of the sea banding together.
It's all nonsense, of course, just coincidence. Oh, don't be so sure there, Wardell. The Stormlord moves in mysterious ways. We can only hope to figure out his plans through the close observation of the waves.
Slarky in the sailing fraternity, how is it seen? As a bad omen, as a good omen?
Slocrethil is seen as...
Folk would have heard about him. But
Yeah, Slocrethil is seen as a being of great power. Because he hadn't, until the last year or so, he hadn't been seen for a while. Some of the younger seamen think he's a bit of an old sea dog's legend. But the older sort of seafaring folk know that he's real. He's spoken of with fear. Some people before a voyage will make offerings over the side of the ship for safe passage across the Azure Sea.
For the king.
Yeah, make a history check for me. You've heard rumour, though never seen anything to give it any credence, that there is a cult that worships Slocrethil as a god. And whilst many sailors are a superstitious bunch to begin with, and many do, as I said, make offerings for safe passage to the king of the trackless depths before they set sail, you've never seen any sign of any organised sort of worship of the beast. But you have no doubt he's real, from talking to people in the Navy and so on.
it's always a bad sign when Slark fell.
In fact, Gordal Thorne once claims to have seen the Kraken.
He's fine, despite losing limbs.
You're moving in mysterious ways, but it's never good news when he shows up.
Okay.
I
Mormac
think
and...
I've just put a real downer on the party. Anyway,
Mormac and Gellan seem to have finished their conversation. Mormac's gone over to talk to Anders. Gellan goes over to a chest on the side of the ship and takes some fishing lines out and some tackle and bait and starts stringing up a rod. Anyone care to join me to try their luck with the fishing?
Yeah, I'll do some fishing.
to look over and then wander over to the captain.
Okay. Alright, so Gellan very friendly and charmingly, but slightly patronisingly, takes a few minutes to explain the fundamentals of fishing to you, Cat. And whilst he's mansplaining what a fishing rod is, Atticus, what are you doing with Misty?
So I'm going to talk to her about the weather and the rigging and how long she's been sailing and all that kind of stuff. But whilst I'm doing that, I'm going to be having a separate conversation with my hands.
Okay.
And I'm going to say to her, I need to return back to base. Can you take me after this journey?
She says, she tells you that she's been ordered to stay in Saltmarsh and keep a holding eye on things whilst you're gone. But she knows that there's a ship with a friendly captain leaving in just over a week, in about 10 days. Which should give you time to tie a few things up.
Sorry, I'm making notes. Okay, I thank her, and then I then speak to her saying, "Did you see that argument between Gellan and Mormac?"
You're still doing this in sign?
Yeah.
She signals that yes.
What was that about?
Speaking in Seeker's sign is difficult to get full meaning because it's a rapid movement of the thumb across different joints on the fingers, each joint symbolising either a letter or a combination of letters or a single word. So it's difficult to give deep meaning to something, but she tells you that Mormac you get the information that Mormac has been asking Gellan for a while for something, and he won't give it to him. And she tells you it's something to do with Gellan's business.
Okay. I thank her and head back off and just go and sit down with Tiberius.
Okay. So after being patronised for a good 5 minutes by Gellan, though in a very charming manner, Kat, you cast your lines out. Can you make me a wisdom check, please?
Yes.
Okay. You haven't fished at sea before, but during your days in the woodlands in the Firwood, all Grugak are trained in the arts of survival. You have fished in pools, deep pools that very few people have ever seen in the fringes of the wood. You've fished in the rivers, the fast-flowing streams near the foothills of the mountains, and in the slow-moving brooks more towards the edge of the forest. So you understand that certain fish like the shadows or certain depths of the water. So you cast out to a spot you think is going to be quite likely, and within a few minutes you get a bite. I would like you to make a dexterity check, please.
Okay.
Woo!
This bitch just fished.
King dinner.
Okay, Gellan slaps you on the shoulder. I think you got something there, Hecate. Are you alright? And he starts to patronisingly tell you not to reel in too much and to let the fish run, and you know exactly what you're doing anyway. But unfortunately, just as you're about to pull it in, the line breaks.
Damn it.
Bad luck. Have another go.
Alright, I'll rejig the line.
A few minutes to rejig, yeah.
See, I know terms.
Let's have another wisdom check.
Another wisdom check, no problem.
Again, even you know from where you cast last time, it was a good place. The movement of the waves and the swell of the water, where the fish will be lying undisturbed. You cast out there again and again. Within a few minutes, you get a hook. Gellan's looking at you very impressed. Let's have another dex check, please. Okay, yeah, you managed to land a really nice-looking sea bass. And Gellan gets a net out and helps you lift it on board. Hey, everybody! First catch of the day goes to Cat!
Oh!
And you spend the next hour fishing and manage to land another 3 fish in that time.
Nice. We're eating well today, boys. And girls.
I'm going to take these down to Urgaub. Dinner will be ready shortly, in about an hour. If you would all like to go down to your rooms and get ready and meet us in the dining hall when the bell rings.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll head down.
Just before I get up from the bow, I'm going to rip that note up and just scrumple it up and drop it over the side.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we'll head down.
Okay, you head down to your rooms. Is there anything in particular you would like to do?
Wash up for dinner. I'll head down to the kitchen and see if the chef needs any help with the fish.
Okay, you head down to the lower deck, which is where your rooms are on the lowest deck anyway. But you head through to the through the doors on the other side of where your rooms are, and you enter a brightly lit room. A very loud humming and whirring noise fills the air. Large iron blocks are connected by a maze of intertwining belts that connect to a myriad of cogs, wheels and whirring mechanisms. From the smell, you can tell there's a slight archway over to the right hand side. From the sort of glimmering of fire, you can tell that's where the galley is. But to get to it, you have to kind of duck under these sort of leather belts as they're whizzing overhead and move past these sort of whirring cogs, minding you don't catch your robes.
Alrighty.
Dangerous.
I'll get changed into my uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Smart for dinner.
You poke your head around the corner of the galley, and the orc Urgalb is in there. His huge hulking form, he's kind of almost has to stoop under the rafters of the galley. It seems very well organised, making good use of the limited space available. Pots and pans line the walls, plates and cutlery laid out on a table at one end. There's 3 ovens lining the west side of the room, and the cook is there stirring the pots. He doesn't seem to have noticed you.
Hey there, sir. Would you need any help?
Oh, hello, miss. No, that's all right, thank you. It does smell very good, the food he's preparing. I'll be bringing up the dinner soon. I hope you enjoy it.
I'm sure it will be fantastic.
Oh, like he's got a deep sadness.
I know. I don't want to just give him a hug.
Master Primewater says you're responsible for these wonderful fishes.
Partially. Not like I can take credit for them.
Well, I'll try to do something special with them.
No, I'm sure you will. I look forward to dinner. And I'll give him a wave and head out.
I'll see you later, miss.
Let me give him a big hug.
Okay. So you all make your way to dinner, I take it, which is in the banquet hall on the second deck of the ship. You all gather together in the ship's banquet hall. There's a large table in front of you set for a feast, and everyone has already taken their seats. Yours are at the west end of the table as the other guests fill the east side, and Gellan sits at the head of the table. You all sit down, a few bottles of wine are passed around, and there's a bit of light chatter whilst everyone's glass is being filled, and Gellan stands up and clears his throat. Before we begin the feast that Urgalb has prepared for us this evening, I'd like to propose a toast. Some time ago, I embarked on a rather risky business venture, and it didn't go to plan, and I was set back a sizable chunk of my fortune. But that didn't stop me, and I continued to battle on against the tide. And now, partly in thanks to everybody here, Saltmarsh is about to have the biggest economic boom in its history. This trip is for you, my friends. I hope you enjoy yourselves. And I swear to Procan that you will always have a friend in the Primewater family. Here. Oh yes, well said, Gellan. And everyone raises their glass and takes a drink.
Cheers.
Now, bring out the food! The doors to the banquet hall are flung open, and Ergalb walks in dressed in his chef's clothes. On his arms are several expertly balanced plates laden with food, which he hands out to the party and assembled guests before bowing to Gellan. "If you give me but a moment, I will return with the rest." And a few moments later he returns once more laden with food. He walks around the north side of the table and begins handing out the food. Mormac stands up and smiles and said, "Ergalb, please allow me and the Commodore to assist you. It's the least we can do." And they take some of the plates and start passing them around the table. Once all the plates have been served, Gellan stands up again. "Well, let the feast commence, my friends!" And you see laid out before you some starters of flaky mushroom pastries and a ginger scald.
Mormac, what's your plans now?
Well, I should take this opportunity to thank you all once again for the great service you provided me. I've sent word back to the Church of Faltus and back to the family business in Seaton, and within the next few days we should already be able to take back on many of the families we had to let go. The city will really be grateful for the service you provided, I'm sure.
That's wonderful news. Wonderful.
And what's next for you?
Oh, I'll be heading back to Seaton to Mama and Papa and continuing to run the family business. Ergalb's standing in the corner, just watching everyone eat their starters. After a moment the door opens and Misty enters with her pink bandana still on her head. She walks over to Gellan and just whispers a few things in his ear. And she goes and stands in the corner. Ergalb disappears to get the next course. And what about you, Commander? What are your plans now?
Seas take me.
Ah, true sailor, eh? Well, as I said, if you're ever in Seaton, please feel free to visit me at the Seymour family shipwrights. There'll always be a drink and a room waiting for you there if you need one.
Raise my glass to him, much appreciated.
Ergalb comes in with the main course, which is the sea bass that Cat caught, which has been stuffed with a fruit spice infused fig. He lays it out on the table. Ah, you've outdone yourself again, Ergalb. Oh, thank you very much, sir.
Yes. Thank you, Orc.
Father Hayward looks over at you, Rodri. I'm sure I've seen you around the Church of Procan recently, Mr. Malweth. Are you a follower of the Stormlord?
No, yes, I've been in. I've paid my respects to the higher powers. I'm a follower of a different one myself.
Oh, and who would that be?
Well, my family has followed the.
In the middle of your sentence, everything goes black. You can't see anything even an inch in front of your nose.
Just sit completely still.
Even Cat and Tiberius, with their dark vision, cannot see a thing. There's suddenly panic shouting, screaming, and the sound of chairs scraping as they are pushed back. Cat, what are you doing? You can do one thing. What are you doing?
Oh, okay. I don't know. If anything comes into the room that means anyone any harm, I will attack it with.
Okay, strangely enough, your danger sense hasn't kicked in. Tiberius, what are you doing? Okay.
words.
No words needed.
My picture hasn't changed. What is that?
It's the same for me too. It's changed on the combat tracker.
It's changed on the combat tracker. I don't know why, mate.
Mine hasn't. Oh, yeah, it has.
Okay.
Weird.
Rodri, what are you doing?
Yeah, casting the light cantrip.
Okay,
on the middle of the table.
You cast your light cantrip in the middle of the table, but it doesn't have any effect. Everything is still completely black.
Magic! This is magic!
Atticus, what are you doing?
I'm going to stand up. Can I remember the layout of the room?
You can, yes. What do you want to know?
I kind of close my eyes to focus, and I stand up and take steps backwards until my back's against the bulwark with my hand.
Okay, it's about 8 feet behind you.
I just slowly, but step by step, very silently, start stepping backwards until my back's against the bulwark.
Okay. Amid the shouting and screaming, you hear a thud, followed by a cry of pain as something heavy hits the ground. Then nearly immediately after that, there's another thud of something else heavy hits the ground, this time followed by a gargling noise. There's more shouting. This time you can hear fear in the voices. And then, as quickly as it appeared, the darkness disappears to reveal a horrifying scene. Father Wyndham is lying on the ground, groaning after falling back from his chair. Commodore Warrington is standing up in his own chair, his cutlass drawn and at the ready. Gellan is standing, his chair pushed back. And Captain Misty is standing behind Gellan, a dagger in each hand. However, all your eyes are drawn to Skerin Wavechaser, Anders Solmer's butler, who is lying on his side, slumped over the table. You can all see his neck has been slashed open, and a bone dagger lies on the table beside him. The room erupts into panic. You see Father Wyndham seems to check his pockets, and then he suddenly, after a short pause, as the room erupts into a cacophony of shouting, screaming, pointing and crying, he leaps to his feet and lunges across the table at Carmilla, his hands grasping for her neck.
I'm going to try and pull him off her. Father!
Get off me! Get off me!
Calm down! Calm down, no one's
No,
leaving.
I need her diamond!
Oh! Sorry.
He reaches forwards, and Carmilla lets out a yelp of surprise as the father yanks this huge diamond that she's wearing around her neck, tears it from her neck, and then leaps over Skerin's body, places his hand on the man's neck, and begins to cast a spell. You all watch as the wound on his neck knits back together, and suddenly Skerin lets out a loud gasp and sucks in air, then leans over and starts throwing up a mixture of half-digested food, bile and blood.
What the hell was that?
Skerin, are you okay? Anders is bent over him, Hayward's bent over him. Gellan is just looking round grimly. He nods at Misty, who goes and stands at the main door to the room, her dagger still drawn.
That was definitely magic.
I'm very sorry, mistress. I couldn't find my diamond and I needed one to cast a spell. Skerin's still throwing up this thick black bile mixed with blood onto the floor.
Can I go over and examine that black bile?
Yeah? What are you looking for in particular?
Carrots.
That just seems a very unusual thing to throw up. Does it smell? Is there a distinct smell to it apart from stomach acids?
Okay, make a medicine check.
Is there any anything in it apart from black bile?
Okay. I mean, it doesn't smell pleasant anyway. It's a mixture of stomach bile, stomach acid, vomit, blood, but there is definitely a hint of something else there. that reminds you strangely of a flower that used to grow in the wheat fields near where you lived back in Penzaro in the Keylands. That was, that the farmers in that community used to stop their cattle grazing where the flowers grew.
I just shout, nobody move! Nobody touch the food! He's been poisoned as well!
Poisoned?
Yes! I could detect something in the bile that he's thrown up.
He's checking, Father Hayward's checking over Scarin, lifting his eyes up, checking his eyes. You alright, Scarin? I'm sorry, sir. He's like, it's almost painful for him to talk. His throat's obviously burning.
Can I pick up the blade and inspect the blade for poison?
You can pick up the blade. You pick up the blade. Make an investigation check.
Okay.
Okay. The dagger is a bone dagger. It's actually carved from what appears to be shark bone or cartilage, fashioned into a sharp point. It's quite crude. There's a name carved into the bone of the dagger, Ricky One Eye.
Okay.
Ricky One Eye's famous bone dagger.
To be fair, I don't think the dagger would need to be poisoned to kill him after that wound.
Excuse me,
Just the cutting of it. Suddenly, Father Wyndham falls to one knee, clutching his chest, beginning to cough violently. Blood suddenly sprays out of his mouth, leaving a large spatter on the wall of the ship. You watch in horror as he suddenly collapses to the ground, his body writhing uncontrollably, bending out of shape.
I want to rush over to him and cast Lesser Restoration.
Okay.
If it's to remove poison.
Okay.
Done.
Okay, you rush over. You lay your hand on his chest. His legs are drumming a tattoo on the deck of the ship as he's spasming uncontrollably. He looks up at you. You cast the spell, lay your hand on his chest. His eyes widen. And then he smiles at you. Oh, thank you, my son. And then his head slumps down as he dies.
Like Platoon.
Isn't it one of MacGyver?
What the hell's going on here? Anders, Scarin. Anders is kneeling over Scarin. Are you all right? Are you all right? I think so, sir. Yes. Camilla's sort of holding Anders by the shoulders, trying to comfort him.
GM, can you explain what we saw when the lights went back on again?
I can. Yep. Give me 1 second.
Father Hayward had tumbled backwards off his chair.
So, Father Wyndham was lying on the ground, groaning after falling back on his chair. Commodore Warrington was standing up with his cutlass drawn at the ready. Gellan was standing backwards, his chair pushed back, just looking in shock. Captain Misty was standing next to Captain Gellan with a dagger in each hand. And Scarin Wave Chaser had his neck cut open and was leaning across the table, blood pooling out onto the table.
Thank you.
Misty has now moved across and she's basically just standing in front of the door to the room.
I think we need to examine everybody's weapons. If everybody can take their weapons out and place them on the table.
I don't... Wardell steps forwards. I don't think there's any need to examine everybody's weapons. That's one of Misty's daggers. Everyone's head slowly turns to look across the room at Misty, who's standing at the doorway.
Well then, who is Ricky One Eye? And I'll hand the dagger over to Rodri.
That is one of my daggers, but I swear I didn't do it. That dagger was stolen a week ago.
Did you tell anybody? Anybody at all?
Okay, thanks.
I told the captain at the barracks in town.
There's no way a captain would be fool enough to kill someone on their own ship.
Gellan's...
No, unless it was a mutineer.
Gellan's look has turned from shock to one of determination. My friends, I invited you all aboard my ship as a gesture of thanks and goodwill. And here, the lifelong manservant of one of my best friends has had his throat cut, and thanks to the fast actions of the father, has been saved. Only for one of my old friends, Father Wyndham, who has sailed on every voyage of the Primewater Pleasure, now lies dead. What the hell's going on?
Did the good father, have the same to eat as everybody else? There was no dagger wound or weapon used.
As far as you're aware, he did have the same to eat as everyone else, yes.
Atticus just starts wandering around the room.
Okay.
As if he's thinking.
Okay, just give me 1 sec to respond to that, Mark.
Yeah.
It's like Pluto.
Mousetrap.
It was Colonel Mustard.
Colonel Mustard in the study with the dildo.
I've not played that version.
Okay.
He's looking at the little weapon, little metal. No,
Anders helps Skerin back up to his feet. Oh, my friend. You've taken care of me all my life. It's my turn to take care of you now. Here, take a seat. He looks up. Gellan, the only new people here are our new friends from the town. They've served us well over the last few weeks. I think we should allow them to investigate. They don't have any stake in any of this. They're the only ones who don't.
I want to go to the father and arrange his body, just make sure he's definitely dead.
He is definitely dead, yes.
I mutter some words.
Make a perception check for me.
What?
So,
okay.
Father Hayward, wasn't he the one that died?
Yes. So I'll summarise very quickly. Everything went black. When the light came back, Skerin was lying on the table with his throat cut. There was panic. Hayward leapt across the table and grabbed a diamond off Carmilla that she was wearing around her neck, and used it as a component in a spell to revivify Skerin. A few moments after that, Hayward started to choke, spasmed, had a fit, and died.
Maybe he absorbed the poison or something. Nobody else has been affected by the poison.
It's not that. Are those flowers that they stop the cattle from eating? Are they highly poisonous, or?
I mean, you don't really know. You know that they could poison cattle, so they were avoided. The farmers made sure that, to clear out their fields and not let their cattle graze near them.
Yeah, but I'll definitely smells, and I'll tell them about that. The flower. It can kill cattle. Probably quite strong, but I don't know if it's contact. It probably just has to be ingested. In which case, and they've gotten into the food.
Well, then surely we need to speak to the chef, don't we? We need to talk to Ergo.
Ergal's still standing in the corner, his eyes wide, he's shaking slightly. He hasn't said a word.
Yes.
I'll go up to him and confront him. Did you do this?
He looks up at Gellan, his eyes wide as though pleading for help. Gellan says, answer her, Ergalb. We're going to let them take the lead on this. You can trust them.
No, miss, I would never hurt anybody.
Are any of the ingredients you got for this meal new or different to what you would usually use?
The only thing that was new was the fish that you caught, miss.
What? How could you?
Is there any of the fish left?
How are you feeling, Garen?
I could do with some water, sir. My throat's very dry. Yes, of course, Garen. Anything, Garen. Anders starts getting a bottle of vase of water off the table and passes it over to Scarin.
I rush over to him and grab that glass. Just let me check this first. I don't know where this poison's come from.
Really?
I'll give it a sniff and see if I can smell that.
Make a perception check. You can't. It's odourless as far as you can tell.
Can't smell anything.
Scarin grabs the vase and starts drinking it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Is the mark on his neck completely healed?
There's a thin line there still, but the magic, Hayward's magic basically healed him up. Yeah.
I'm going to investigate the fish that's been served to specifically him and see if there's anything on there, maybe.
Okay, make an investigation check. So the fish has been stuffed with figs, which have been infused with freet spice, which is a rare spice from the southern chain of islands at the south of the Azure Sea. Okay. They appear to have been deboned quite thoroughly. There doesn't appear to be any bones in there. The flesh of the fish looks white and well cooked. You don't see anything unusual or suspicious.
Oh, I didn't do anything, miss, I promise.
Ergab?
I believe you, Ergab.
Yes, sir.
Perhaps we should visit your kitchen and examine all the ingredients you used and see if any of them have been tampered with or smell strange. Perhaps you could point out what you used for tonight's dinner.
Okay, I don't want to go on my own, I'm sorry. I'm scared.
No, perhaps somebody else. Gellan, would you like to come along as well, and just to make sure everything's done properly?
As I said, I think we should put ourselves into your hands, my friends. If that's what you advise, I will come with you and Ergab down to the kitchen.
Yes.
Why are you heading down to the kitchen?
Just to check the ingredients of the meal to see if there's anything strange about them.
But we've not finished checking this room yet, and whoever did it has to be in this room unless magic was involved.
Well, we know magic was involved because the light cantrip wouldn't work.
Yes,
so I'm not that keen on letting anybody leave the room.
Yeah, Cat, you know that it was a magical spell. The fact your dark vision didn't work at all, and the light cantrip didn't override it. It was definitely a magical darkness.
So, I mean, it could have been anyone, not just anyone that's in this room.
Anders looks up. So, who here can cast magic?
Well,
or at least who's going to own up to it?
I can.
I am able to.
Gellan says,
none of them have that particular skill.
the only person I'm aware of on board that can cast spells is Wexley. He's not even here.
Not necessarily an issue. Yes, where is this Wexley?
Oh, Wexley's normally down in his cabin at the front of the ship with his books.
Perhaps we should have a head count and make sure everybody's here.
Apart from Wexley, everyone on board is in this room.
So we need to check on Wexley. We need to check on the food.
So quick to point the finger.
Wardell stands up. Look, Gellan. I know you mean well, my friend. We've known each other for many years, but why are you putting this investigation into the hands of these strangers? Why don't you let me take over? I know what I'm doing.
Well, in case you haven't been paying attention, Sunshine, we've been there getting quite a lot of shit done.
And in case you haven't been... What the fuck are you? He suddenly takes a step back in the panic and sort of shock of the moment. No one had really clocked that there's now a humanoid wolf standing in the middle of the room. Gellan, what the fuck's going on? Now calm down, Waddle. This is just the way these guys operate. He's a blood hunter. A blood hunter, is he? Oh, fine. Well, I guess you know what's best, don't you, Gellan?
So keep it, zit.
Wardell, my good man, these four people did me a great service recently. I do trust them. Who cares what you think, Mormac?
What's up with you? What's with the attitude?
I just don't think we should be letting a group of strangers, with all due respect, lead any investigation into the murder of my friends.
Well, with all due respect, we're probably the only civil party you have got at the moment. You know, we have nothing to gain from it, like it was stated.
And how would you start, Commodore? With your investigation?
I would question everyone individually.
Interrogate.
I look around the room, but we're all here. Do you mean on their own?
Yes, of course I mean on their own.
What happens if you're to blame?
He kind of pauses as though not sure what to say, as though the question has taken him slightly unawares. And then he looks across at Gellan. Gellan, you can't be serious. Oh, I'm serious, my friend. They know what they're doing.
You're the only one that seems to have a problem with us taking the lead.
Cole Miller is comforting Skerry, and she has her arm round him. She's crying quietly to herself.
Tiberius. Get the door. Captain. Why don't you go and check on Wexley? The rest of us will stay here, and Tiberius will make sure none of us leave.
Yes, I can do that. Why are you sending her out? It was her Dagger, for heaven's sake.
Because she's least likely here to do it.
He kind of looks aghast at the what he sees as the incompetence of these strangers.
I think you might have a point, Atticus. What fool would murder somebody with their own dagger, then leave it on the table?
On their own ship.
Mm-hmm.
And Misty is much more intelligent than that. If she was going to take you out, you wouldn't even know about it, I'm sure.
Oh.
Captain. Go and check on Wexley.
Do you want me to bring him up here?
Might be an idea.
Right, I'll go and get him right now. She kind of looks at Gellan for approval, and Gellan nods. And she heads out the room.
Yes, I do think I should go to the kitchen then alone if you keep everybody else here and examine the ingredients. No need for Urgarb or Gellan to follow me then. keep everybody in this room. But if anything's been done to that food, it might be a race against time to detect it.
Do you think that's best?
Yes. Which way to the kitchens?
Okay, well, you have to follow Misty as she heads out. Says, you can follow me. It's on the way to Wexley's room cabin.
Okay. I'll follow her.
Okay, we'll deal with Rodri quickly first then. Okay, so she leads you through a hatch in the hallway down to the lowest deck of the ship and into the engine room. Engine sort of in inverted commas with all the cogs and the leather belts whizzing around. And she points out the entrance to the kitchen.
I'll just go and get Wexley.
Yes, be as quick as you can. We don't want any more suspicion to fall on you for no reason.
And she heads to a door at the far end of the engine room.
I'll go into the kitchen then.
Okay, you go into the kitchen. There's a large frozen sculpture of a ship made out of carved out of ice, sitting on a bed of ice chips, which has different sort of sorbets laid into it, which is obviously to be brought up for dessert. You can see the there's a load of dirty pots and pans have been put in the sink ready to be cleaned. There's the 3 ovens at the far end of the room. There's various cupboards around the room.
I would like to look at just hope everything hasn't been thrown overboard, like the cuttings and the trimmings and
okay, so there's no window hatch at this level, because this level of the ship is sort of too close to the waterline. In fact, where your feet are is actually below the level of the waterline. Right, it's the lowest deck, so there's no way you could have a hatch here without water flooding in.
I'll look for the I'll look for the stuff that's been cut away and in the preparation of the meal.
Okay, there is a bin in the corner.
Yeah.
With various bits of vegetables and fish bones and things in it.
Right, I will look for a utensil, a fork or something, and
yeah, you can find a large fork.
I'll tip the bin over and try and separate out everything and sniff.
Okay, make a investigation check for me, please.
And I will use before I will use my pat boon to add.
Okay, you have a good look through the various sort of detritus from the preparation of the meal. There's absolutely nothing there that strikes you as suspicious that you wouldn't expect to see. There's nothing that smells like those flowers that sprung to mind earlier.
Right. I'm gonna look for herbs and spices. Right. If there was poison and it was in the kitchen, it would probably be kept in a small container.
Yeah, there's a few cupboards there. You start opening them up. One of them does contain some herbs and spices. They're mainly common things like sage and thyme and basil. There is a small jar of freet spice, which you know is very valuable.
I will go through each one of the small jars, sniffing them individually.
Okay, make a perception check, please.
And however long it takes.
You take a deep breath of deadly night. It never returns from the kitchen.
You don't find any. You check them all pretty thoroughly. You don't find anything suspicious or unusual that raises any suspicions. And as you're just putting them back in the cupboard, Misty pokes her head around, says, "We're heading back up."
Oh, sorry, sorry, just took me by surprise. Okay, I'll be there shortly. I just want to do a thorough search.
Okay. I'll
I want to systematically search this kitchen, however long it takes.
Okay.
Just tell them I might be another 30 minutes.
Okay. Will do. Okay, so in the meantime, Misty and Rodri have left the room. What are the rest of you doing?
Does the dagger have blood on it?
The bone dagger does, yes.
Okay.
It was obviously used to cut the throat of Scarin.
Well, we know the dagger had gone missing previously because we saw her. She had like empty pouches while she was throwing the daggers into the thingy. So I don't think it was Misty. I'm going to check the wine and like his drink specifically to see if that smells laced.
Okay.
Can I smell the handle of the dagger because it was the last handled by the killer, and then go around people sniffing them?
Okay, make a perception
got a tracker dog.
check.
Make a what check?
Perception check.
Imagine how unnerving that would be to have that wolf just sniffing you.
You just smell
so
blood.
Intimidating.
You're sorry, Neil.
You just smell blood.
Okay.
Stop sniffing Misty's crotch.
Is anyone perspiring, or is their heart racing?
Camilla, I'll tell you what everybody's doing. Urgalby's standing in the corner looking confused and worried. Gellan has a look of thunder on his face. He's still at the head of the table, looking round at everyone. Commodore Warrington has his back turned to everyone. He's looking out one of the whip portholes into the darkness. His arms folded. He looks annoyed. Scarin is being comforted by Camilla. Anders is looking from Scarin to Camilla to Gellan, not knowing what to do. Anders is still quite young. He's in his early 20s, and this is all a bit of a shock to him. Hayward is still lying on the floor, his body contorted horribly.
Yeah, can I check his drink and see if that's laced?
Okay, yeah, make a perception check, please. Hayward's drink, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
It smells, as far as you can tell, the same as the drink that you had.
Misty back in the room yet?
Not yet, no.
When she comes back, I'll ask her when she noticed the dagger went missing.
Okay. Who was next to Scarin? And are the
I can give you a diagram of who was seated where, if that would help.
It would.
Seeing as you've asked
Sorry,
the question.
I spoke over you there, I think.
So you were sat on the west side of the table. That's where everybody else was sat.
Ooh.
Which side of his neck was the blade mark?
Okay, just bear with me 1 second, mate. Oh, hold on, I'm missing something. Just bear with me a second.
All right.
Why is that not there? Okay, just bear with me 1 second. There's an image missing. I've got to import. Wait me a second.
Import.
Characters.
Copy pasta.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So let me tell you about the dagger and the cut throat and stuff. Okay. The it's difficult to say because he's obviously Scarin's neck has healed up, but the cut looks as though it was slightly deeper on his left, the left-hand side of his neck. If that makes sense.
Which makes the killer on the right-hand side of his neck.
Left-hand
side, so he would have been right-handed. Or at least cutting it from the right.
Okay, it starts off shallow, doesn't it, and goes in deeper.
I wouldn't have thought so. Could be wrong.
So if it was a right-handed strike, it would have had to have come from across the table.
Who do we know that's good with Dagger?
If it wasn't, if it was someone standing behind him, it could have been a left-handed strike into the left-hand side of the neck.
There's a knock at the door.
Right-handed.
You what? Sorry.
There's a knock at the door. It opens and Misty comes through. She's followed by a young man wearing stuffy blue wizard robes, as well as a wizard hat with white stars on it. Looking like a painting from a child's book about the wizards of old. Overweight and stumbling slightly, Wexley enters the room behind Misty. His hands are behind his back. He doesn't look particularly happy.
Ooh, Wexley.
Yes, Misty has explained what has happened.
Have you sensed any magic being played?
I was busy reading my books in my cabin, and now I've been torn away from my studies.
Well, we're very sorry to inconvenience you.
Apology accepted.
A man has died and you're worried about your books.
I'm very sorry to hear that. However, as I was not here, I can't see how this matter affects me.
Wow.
Gellan looks over. Wexley, just answer their questions. Cut out the bullshit.
See why you didn't invite him to dinner.
Hey, he's a genius with cogs and numbers and wheels. He's one of the brightest minds I've ever met. Wexley kind of brightens up his shoulders a bit at this, but he's not a people person.
Do you have the ability to detect magic, Mr. Lancaster?
Yes, of course I do.
How does it work?
How does it work? Are you asking me to explain the mysteries of the weave?
Do you do it on a whole area at once, or does it have to be individual, or do you have to actually... How does it work?
I have to concentrate and it's so difficult to put into layman's terms that someone such as yourself would understand. But I sense vibrations within the weave, within a certain distance of myself, and I can do it for maybe 10 minutes.
Can you try it in this room, please? And then afterwards I want you to list everything out for us.
Yes, fine. He looks at Gellan. Gellan nods.
I look at Gellan and point at the group of the four of us. You might have some reaction from us.
He mutters something. He takes something out of a pouch flicks some dust up into the air, mutters something, weaves his fingers in a complicated pattern, and then bows his head, closes his eyes and concentrates, and slowly starts to walk around the table. You can make an insight check, please.
All of us?
Yeah, anyone who's there, who's watching, so not Rodri.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cat. Oh no, that was from earlier, sorry. Oh, okay. Cat. You obviously have a deep-rooted connection to a different kind of magic.
Yeah.
But you're well attuned to it, and you can tell that whilst he's casting a fairly simple spell, he's kind of putting on a bit of an act and a bit of a show, the way he's wandering around the room and kind of nodding and umming and ahhing to himself. He's basically sort of playing it up like a stage magician would, though he has cast a genuine spell.
Just gonna grab a drink.
Theatrical and arrogant.
He stops next to you, Cat. Nice dagger.
Thank you. Don't touch it.
Hands off!
What?
He walks up to you, Atticus, looks you up and down. Yes, I can tell you've got something in your backpack, but nothing interesting. And he moves on. He stops in front of Tiberius. Oh my. Oh, how interesting.
Oh, I'm unique, baby.
Well, I'm sure you are. You also have a couple of potions in your backpack. He carries on, wanders around the table. There is something here. And he slowly, with a flourish, bends down, looks under the table. Oh.
Of course.
How interesting. And stands back up. Has anybody checked under the table? I imagine not.
Look under the table.
Make a perception check for me, please, Atticus.
I don't really need to look under the table.
Yeah.
I'd just see it.
Yeah, you see straight away. There's something stuck in the with that perception check. It's almost in the centre of the table, but not quite. It's slightly closer to the south side of the table, but there's definitely something stuck to the bottom of the table.
I get under there and is Rodri back yet? He's not.
No, not yet. He was having a really good search of the galley.
I get one of the torches off the wall and go under and check it in more detail.
Okay, you lift one of the bracketed candles off the wall and go and look. You can see underneath the table there's like a thick black pitch. It's called black stuff. It's used by sailors for repairs and waterproofing, but it's incredibly sticky. And stuck to it is an empty glass vial.
Put a glove on and pry it off. Use my knife and pry it.
Okay, there's a sucking noise. You managed to pull it off from the underside of the table.
I put it on the table. I put it on the table. Take my glove off and leave it resting on my glove at the end of the table, as far away from everyone as I can. At the far end, at the west end of the table.
Okay. What have you got there, Atticus?
Looks like a vial, possibly containing poison.
Poison? Oh my gods. Anders looks over at Hayward's contorted form. Oh, Celestian, what is happening?
It's matter.
So it's almost near the centre, so it was within grasp of either Mormac or Gellan himself.
Gellan is being oddly quiet.
Scarin's being comforted by Carmilla, who has her arm around him. She's crying and he's rubbing his throat and sipping water. But yeah, he hasn't said anything. When Dave gets back, Rodri comes back into the room.
I'm back.
Okay, yeah, Rodri comes back into the room. You didn't find anything during your search, Rodri?
Nothing at all.
Rodri, Atticus just
I point to that thing at the end. Sorry, Becky, I've done it again. My apologies.
So at the end of the table, there's now a clear glass vial sitting on the end of the table, Rodri. It's got some black sticky residue around the base of it.
I found that under the table.
Where exactly and what direction was it pointing in, if any?
In the centre of the table.
A little bit to the south.
It was stuck underneath, yeah, a little bit to the south.
I indicate to Hecate, Tiberius and Rodri, let's step outside for a second.
We'll follow.
Rodri, can you make an Arcana check for me? Okay.
Sure, I'll follow.
Is everybody? Are you all four of you stepping outside?
Yeah.
No, I'm guarding everybody.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's just Gellan, Wardle, and Mormac are just eyeing each other suspiciously, and slightly paranoid look in their eyes.
What do you want to talk about, Atticus?
I'd say no funny business as we go out.
Gellan nods.
I'll keep them in.
From the position of the knife and the cut and the vial, I think we have to consider the possibility that Scarron might have done it to himself, knowing that the father would try and help him.
Oh.
But
That
why?
would be exonerating himself and never to be considered in the death of the father. Maybe the father was the one that was intended.
Well, I think we should ask if this seating plan was predetermined or random.
I think that's a very good idea, Rodri.
Because if we knew everybody was seated, and it was definitely targeted against one person.
We also need to speak to Misty more about when she lost the knife, and if any of the workers of these people in the room were nearby or could have had access.
Yes. Did you notice also that when the food was brought in, there were two people that helped Ergarb with it to the table? I can't remember who brought...
I can tell you who that was. You would have remembered. Now you've mentioned it. Yeah, when Ergarb brought out the main course, Mormac stood up and asked and said that he and Warrington would help, and they took some of the plates off Ergarb.
Ergarb and Warrington.
When
No,
Can we remember who they
Mormac
served
and
to?
Warrington.
Can we remember who they served to?
Make an intelligence check.
Yeah.
God.
I suppose you think that was terribly clever.
Hecate, can you remember who brought
can't
it to
remember.
Scarin?
Can I try and remember?
I'll do an intelligence.
I get advantage.
You're
on
not there, unfortunately, Rich.
Oh no, I'm not there.
Intelligence.
Be on the left.
We got it.
Amazing!
I suppose you think that was terribly clever.
On a 10, you remember that because you were sat next to him, I'll say, Kat, that Mormac handed a plate across the table to Scarin and a plate across the table to Father Wyndham. You can't remember who Wardle. handed plates.
Okay. Mormac definitely served the father and Scary.
So both people who were poisoned were handed by Mormac.
By Mormac.
And Mormac is close to where that vial was found as well.
He's right in the middle.
Yes, he would be the closest person, apart from the 2 people who were attacked or died. Mormac. Well, I was wondering also if maybe the poor father.
I need to change the time here. Sorry, because hours have passed since I last changed the clock.
Maybe the delayed death of the father was because he was close to the poison under the table, but not close enough for it to immediately affect him. And so it may have taken a little extra time for it to work its way.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. Maybe they were both poisoned with the same thing. But why the knife in the neck as well?
That's very strange. But maybe by leaving the knife on the table and cutting his throat, that was to just try and throw it onto Misty.
Maybe.
Clumsy attempt.
Well, yeah, because they know that we're magic users, so if we tried to heal him with the cut throat, poison would have a different effect. Like a backup sort of death.
A magical darkness. Very disturbing. If we have a murderer that can use magic in amongst us, I don't think we'll be safe to sleep alone.
Looks very magical.
It was a potion, though. It wasn't like... I mean, we don't know what was in the potion. We got the poison, but we don't know where the light cantrip came from.
A darkness.
Dark cantrip, rather.
Yeah. Would I know that the darkness spell is how powerful you'd roughly have to be to cast? I haven't got it.
Make an Arcana check. Let me just check. Warlocks can cast darkness. You don't know exactly. You know it's not a particularly powerful spell, probably in the first 3 or 4 levels of spell casting.
Yes, it wouldn't take a master magician to cast a magical darkness. Somebody could probably hide their skills.
We already know that Mormac's no stranger to magic from the type of chest he has.
Ah. Right, it's going interesting.
We don't have enough.
No.
We need to question. I think we need to question them.
You do need to know whether they're left or right-handed, though, because if it is, then it could be Mormac who leant across the table and stabbed the knife with his right hand. He's right-handed.
Here, Atticus. I take my quarterstaff and throw my quarterstaff to Atticus. Catch.
Catch it.
With which hand?
My right hand.
See, you must be right. Yes, there's a test.
Or you could just ask them to sign their name on a piece of paper.
Yes.
Hey,
you could throw the pen at them and get them to catch it, and then sign and do both.
Why do you have to make everything theatrical, Rory?
I'm trying to help find out who killed poor father. I think we need to be really thorough. I tried to save him.
So whilst this conversation is happening, back in the room, Tiberius, Wardell, with a big huff, turns round, wanders up to Gellan, and starts arguing with him about the fact that he's put these 4 strangers in charge of a murder investigation. And Gellan's trying to defend you guys, and Wardell doesn't see the logic in it. Gellan points out that you did find the vial under the table. Wardell then points out, no, they didn't. It was Wexley that found it. To which Wexley sort of puffs up his shoulders a little bit. And Gellan says, well, I trust them, and it's my decision, it's my boat.
And who fucking was it who told Wexley to cast that spell and have a look?
Should we go back in then? And perhaps we should think about questioning them.
Let's get them all to sign their name.
Yeah.
On a piece of paper.
Throw the pen at them.
But they're left or right-handed. No, I'm not throwing the pen at them.
Okay. What happens if they're ambidextrous?
We'll deal with that when we come to it.
None of these are certainties, Rodri. We're just finding.
You have to throw the pen at them more than once.
Information that lead us to the same or different conclusions.
Sorry, what does that mean? Yes, I agree. Totally.
So what we do is we chop everybody's right hand off. The one with the neatest handwriting is a killer. The left hand.
So I'm gonna go in and find something to cover Father Hayward's body.
Okay. Yeah, I mean there's
Wyndham.
like a cupboard with tablecloths and things back in the room.
Oh,
You wander back in. Gellan looks over at you. So, what's happening?
I don't answer him. Do you have some paper and a quill?
I can provide that, says Wexley.
I just nod at him.
He starts rummaging through a little scroll case at his side. Anders stands up. My friends, I'd like to take Carmilla and Skerrin back to our rooms. We've been through a lot, and I think we just need some time together.
Nobody leaves.
I'll nod. Cross my arms.
Gellan? Let's give them some time, Anders. These things don't resolve themselves quickly. Very well.
So I take the paper that Wexley gets and I put it down in front of not Mormac first, Camilla first, and I say, "Can you sign your name and pass it to the left?"
I start throwing things at people randomly.
Why? What? I don't understand.
Lady, if you don't mind, please.
Fine. She takes the quill with her right hand. Writes her name in a very neat flowing script.
Pass it on. Also, watch what hand she passes it with.
She passes it over to Anders, who takes it with his right hand, and he writes it. His script is not as well defined as Camilla's.
I nod at Anders. Pass it on, Anders.
He passes it to Skerrin. He takes the quill with his right hand. What's going on, sir? Just sign your name, please, Skerrin.
Indulge.
Yes, of course, sir. He writes his name out. It's a very spidery script. He holds the quill up. Gellan takes the quill with his left hand, writes his name out.
Pass it on, please, Gellan. Watching if there's any difference between what they signed and what they pick up the ink pot and pass it on.
They all take the quill and sign with their right hand, apart from Gellan, who signs with his left.
Okay, so they're all right-handed apart from Gellan.
So that narrows out Gellan.
Well, yeah, it's just more like it doesn't completely, of course.
Yeah,
but it just it's more likely that it's not. Of course, it doesn't completely. He could have stood.
He's backing us to the hilt in this, so that's rather.
Yeah.
Gellan, how long are you going to let this charade go on for?
Seem pretty keen to get out of here.
I've told you, Wardle, it's my ship. I trust them.
We have food and drink here, but perhaps you don't trust it. I don't think I would.
When Urgaub signs his name, he just makes a cross on the paper.
I don't know how to write.
So, what next?
Well, I think we might.
We need to ask Misty when her dagger went missing.
Yeah, we need to find out more info about that dagger and Because if it went missing while she was docked and Mormac was visiting Gellan at that time, it's just now we know these people are in the room. It might make more sense if we know, could have been one of Mormac's hands, or it could have been, I don't know, if the commander was visiting during the day it went missing.
Yes, Misty, you said your dagger went missing, was it?
Yes.
I'm sure I can remember. No, I can't.
It said a week ago.
It was a week ago, was it, Misty? Thank you, Carty.
Yes, I had 3 of my daggers stolen from my house about a week ago. There was a bone dagger, which you can see here. A dagger made from a dragon's tooth, and an obsidian dagger.
Ooh.
I also had some money stolen, and the house was trashed.
Misty, who here in this room knows that you live in that house?
Gellan, Urgaub, Wexley. That's all I know for certain.
I think before we let everyone go back to their rooms, we need to search them to see if we find a dragon's tooth dagger or an obsidian dagger.
Yeah.
I'm saying this under my breath to these guys, not to...
Under my breath, I say, before we let them go back to their cabins, maybe we should search their cabins before they have a chance to hide the daggers.
My idea.
Yes, one of us should search the cabins.
I'm guarding them.
So. Get everyone to turn out their pockets too.
Do you think we should search their cabins right now before they get too antsy?
Yes. Get Misty to do it.
You sure?
Yeah, she'll recognise where her dagger is. Someone needs to go with her, though. Maybe you, Rodri.
Okay.
To corroborate.
Me and Misty alone in the cabins. Okay. Sorry, this is not a laughing matter. Okay. Unless you can think of any more questions from Misty.
1 hour passes, and then we start hearing Barry White come from one.
Hey, baby. Unless there's any more questions you could think of, Misty.
No, we'll search these guys in here. You go and search the...
Yeah.
Misty, would you like to show me the cabins of our guests here, and perhaps we could search for your dagger, and you could tell me if...
She looks across to Gellan. I don't think we should be searching people's cabins.
I think we should.
Not yet.
I think we should. If we are to find who committed this heinous crime, and if we want to avert any ire from Procan, then we should do everything and do it swiftly. While we're on the sea, I don't think we want to anger Father Wyndham's God by...
Gellan, if one of these people here is responsible and there's any evidence whatsoever in their room, and they go back to their room, what do you think is going to happen?
Can I have a word in private with you, please? Even in the corner of the room.
Okay.
So
yeah.
He's got a dildo in there.
He brings you over to the corner of the room and he kind of puts his arms around you and you all huddle in and look, my friends, a terrible thing has happened. Obviously, someone in this room is responsible. But my life is complicated and I have to play politics, and these are some of the most powerful people in Imperial politics, nor outside of Keymouth. I think searching their rooms is gonna make a hell of a mess. I don't mean physically, I mean for me, and the outfall for Saltmarsh. I think maybe as a last resort, but I'm asking you to try other routes first.
What about if we do it on the down low?
They're still gonna know. They're not stupid.
It has to be done. It simply has to be done.
I can be quite.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But before we send them back to their rooms, we have to be super careful that there isn't someone on board that we don't know about. A stowaway that could have done this. Rodri and Misty, can you please go and look for stowaways before we send them back to their rooms? And I use the a secret language to say, search the rooms, look for your daggers.
Oh,
make a persuasion check then, Atticus.
You what?
Make a persuasion check for me.
stowaways. Well, yes, maybe.
Oh, but my persuasion's got -5 because of my teeth.
Oh, you're not.
But what about deception check?
Yeah, you could make a deception check, seeing as you are making it, trying to deceive. I'll allow that.
Oh, yeah. I've got +6 deception.
You roll perception, Atticus.
What did you say?
Deception with a D.
Deception. So many septions.
Yeah, that's -5 as well.
Oh, maybe I can do it then.
Oh,
Oh, he's doing it in his special code.
Can I do like an intelligence check or something and try and see if I can see what Atticus is doing and then help him out a bit?
Well, you don't understand the Seeker's sign, do you?
No, but I could,
you can
like,
make an
wink
insight check.
I could like wink at them.
You can make an insight check to see if you know what
Okay.
he's doing. Yeah, you know what he's trying to do, I think.
So
You've
can
got an
I?
idea, you're not certain, but
Can I know that they need to leave the room for something, so I'm going to say, Rodri, you need to go and look for some stowaways and make sure that we are alone on the ship so that we can narrow down the suspects.
So, can I just try an insight check to see if I know that she's being
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
yeah, you know. You've
Okay, I
journeyed
got.
with each other long enough.
Yes. What if there's what if the murderous
Okay,
party
I'll allow
is...
Kat to make a persuasion or deception on Gellan.
Which would you prefer?
I'm going to let you decide based on whether you think you're trying to persuade him to let Misty and Rodri go, or whether you're trying to deceive him that it'll be a good idea.
I'm going to persuade who? Where's persuade?
Two.
Why do I have disadvantage?
I don't know why you had disadvantage.
Oh, is it because of my disfigured scars? I forgot about them.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
But I'm gonna.
What this party is great.
I forgot about them.
Gellan looks at you and says, "Well, I suppose we should rule out any unwanted guests. But
Yes, so before...
let me be clear:
Oh, sorry.
you're
Yeah.
not to search any of their belongings.
Right.
Just check the rooms."
Yeah. We don't want anybody hiding in their rooms who would commit another murder when they return on their own. You don't want any more accidents.
Okay.
Just think of your company's reputation.
These people are gonna check your rooms. They're not gonna go through any of your belongings, but they're just gonna check every room on the ship to make sure we don't have any stowaways. There's a few grumbles, but no one objects.
Does anybody have a problem with that?
What the? Oh, spells. Right.
So who's going?
Ian
Hang on.
Rodri, I think.
I'm. Are you staying here, Atticus? Because I'm quite good at investigation.
Stay. Yeah, I'll stay.
That's a good idea.
I'll go and have a sniff around then.
I've got +3 to investigation, but
So, just to be clear, who's going with Misty?
Atticus. No, Tiberius and Rodri, I think.
Yeah, my investigation is okay. My perception is base.
Okay.
I got a good nose, I think.
Yeah, I think the Tiberius would be a good idea.
Okay, so Atticus and Kat are staying in the room, so it's going to take probably 30 minutes for them to check all the cabins. What are you planning to do whilst they're gone, Atticus and Kat?
Can I do like a deception check and just try and like throw loads of questions at them to keep them busy? But useful questions. And I'm going to try and deceive them to think that we already know who the killer is.
Ooh.
Okay, you need to be a bit more specific about what you're going to say and what you're trying to get them to believe.
I'm going to question all of them, implying that I know who the killer is, and see if anyone slips up.
Okay, and who are you implying? You're just implying you know who it is?
Yeah, specifically at Mormac and the Commodore.
Okay, alright, well, we'll do the room search first, and then we'll come back for the questioning. Okay, Rodri, Tiberius, and Misty leave the room. So where do you want to check first?
I would be very interested why Gellan was... I know he gave his reason, but he seemed very averse to having people's rooms searched. So if we search his room, then we're not violating
The man's a
his
politician.
wishes by searching everybody else's, are we? Let's start there.
But we can go and look.
Tiberius just walked past straight into his room.
She says
yeah.
Gallen's room's on the top deck.
Goes up the stairs.
Okay,
Better follow him.
Misty leads you to Gallen's room, which is underneath the poop deck, just off the main deck of the ship. You open it up, and it's probably the nicest room on the ship. The furnishings include a comfy double bed, a writing desk with several drawers, and a stool. There's no other person in there.
Okay. I'm gonna have a fucking good look round.
Okay, what are you doing? What are you looking for? Where are you looking?
Opening desk drawers, cupboards.
Okay, make a perception check for me.
I'm going to do the same as well.
Missy's just standing there watching you.
Yeah. That's cool.
Looking for secrets.
Rodri, as you're going through the
Look
desk,
for a dragon tooth knife and an obsidian dagger.
Yeah.
as you're going through Gallen's desk, you notice that the drawer, as you pull it out, the bottom kind of lifts up slightly as you pull it out a bit too quickly. And you can see quite easily that it's got a false bottom in the drawer.
Oh. That's right. I'll look for a way to get into the false bottom without damaging or smashing.
Okay, yeah, it's quite easy to lift up. There's some private notes to do with his business, invoices for shipments and so on. Make an investigation check for me. They're kind of written in a shorthand. You don't know exactly what the shipments are related to. But you also find several letters written in a very neat, flowing hand that profess a deep and affectionate love for Gellan. The writer feels a deep guilt but cannot help the yearning of her heart, and it is signed Carmilla.
He's like going to visit Gellan whilst I was watching him. But I don't know that.
It's a love triangle.
Oh,
Dun, dun, dun.
Gellan, but yeah, Gellan, Camilla, I mean, Anders and Gellan and Camilla, none of them were injured or hurt during this, so I don't think this is their business. And we shouldn't speak of this, but let everybody in our group know.
Maybe Gellan and Camilla tried to take out Skerin because he works for Anders and Camilla lives with Anders.
Misty's just watching you as you search the room.
You check under the bed and the chest and the chest of drawers. Look for loose floorboards.
Make a perception check, please, Rodri. When you check under the bed, you can see tucked right at the back of the bed. There's a footlocker.
Oh, I'll drag it out. Reach in and drag it out.
Okay.
And open it. Look for a way to open it. Well, anybody good at?
Above you, you can hear the sound of rain beginning to fall quite heavily now. Outside.
I'll see if I'll try and pick it up and rattle it.
Yeah, it rattles.
Something in here. How do you?
Would you like me to try and open that? I'll stick my claw in the lock and try and pick it.
Okay, you don't have. You need lockpicks to pick a lock.
Yeah. Oh, I might actually have some.
Quickly types into inventory. Lockpick.
No, look, I'm looking.
No.
No.
Oh, damn it. Misty, I don't suppose you know where Gellan keeps his keys?
I presume he has them on him.
Yes. We might need to ask him to open this at a later date.
I'm just going to force it open with my short sword.
Oh!
Okay, make an athletics check for me.
Oops. At advantage.
I'd be fucking happy.
It's really noisy.
After he specifically told you not to search belongings.
It was already open when I got there.
Okay, yeah, it takes you a couple of goes, but you manage to pop the lock on it. It opens up. The first thing you see is a bottle of wine. You see a diamond just sitting there, a large diamond. A set of spare clothes, which the diamond is sitting on. And a dagger, which appears to be made from the tooth of a large beast.
Oh! Really? Not feeling so bad about opening the boxes now, are we?
What have you found, Tiberius?
Fucking Gellan and Camilla working together.
Behold!
Love is one of the biggest fucking motives.
Misty, do you recognise this? Point to the dagger that Tiberius is playing with.
Yes. It's mine. I don't understand. Gellan wouldn't.
I take it this is the dragon tooth.
Oh.
It is.
I think it's only proper to return it to its rightful owner, my lady, and I will present her the dagger.
Thank you. She doesn't put it back in the bandolier, she puts it back in a pouch at her side.
Yes, perhaps best to keep it out of sight, Gellan, for the time being. Perhaps we can get... Perhaps we should, if we're done here, have a look in Camilla's cabin.
Well, the Commodore's cabin is just across the way here, if you wanted to check that quickly.
I think we should go to... How far away is Camilla's?
It's on the next deck down.
Okay, so do the Commodore. Commander, Wardle Warrington's.
She opens the door to Warrington's designated room. The furnishings include a comfy bed, a desk, a chair, a footlocker, and a bookshelf.
Hey, place for a piss.
There doesn't appear to be anything on the desk.
Wasn't the diamond? Wasn't it the father's? And he couldn't find it.
Oh, he... Good lord, you might have something there, Tiberius. Can you remember exactly what he said about his diamond? But it didn't. Whether it had gone missing or...
Make an intelligence check.
I'm not there, but I know. Beep me.
Oh.
I suppose you think that was terrible.
He didn't mention his own diamond, but you do remember just before he lunged across the table at Camilla, grasping for his neck, because you were there, you were trying to stop him doing it at first. You remember just before he did that, he was desperately searching his own pockets.
Wow.
So he was like searching his own pockets.
Yeah.
And then stopped and tried to grab the diamond from Camilla's neck.
Good lord. Right, man. Okay, yeah, but Warder Warrington's, because he was arguing with Mormac on the deck. I think that's the only thing I can think of. Importance. Yeah. Looking for a dagger and or poison and or.
I mean, there's nobody in Warrington's room, obviously.
And evidence of magic use, books or scrolls or something.
I mean, there's books on the bookshelf, and they are all various. They're mainly seafaring storybooks. There's also a footlocker, and a desk there.
I'll go over to the desk, pull the drawers out, and look for.
Okay, the desk. There's nothing on the surface of the desk. You open the drawer, and there's a journal in there.
I just hold it open, flick it, see if anything falls out, and then have a look. Open it to just skim through.
Nothing falls out. Make an intelligence check. See if you can pick up on a skim read anything interesting.
I suppose you think that was terribly clever.
You pick up that Wardell was doing some kind of investigation, but without sitting down and having a thorough read through, you can't, just from a skim read, you can't say what it was about.
Well, Tiberius, maybe you want to have a look in the locker while I just read this a little bit more. I'll try and look a little more deeply into it.
Sure, I'll have a rummage.
You have a rummage. The locker is not locked. Inside, there's a scabbard with a finely crafted rapier in it, 4 finely crafted daggers, and a large pirate hat.
Okay.
It's into cosplay.
I shall leave it untouched.
Did you find any obsidian daggers, Tiberius?
No, just daggers, fine daggers. Nothing that would.
They're not mine.
Stand out.
Thank you, Misty. Thank you.
I think we've got enough evidence here, to be honest.
No, I want to definitely have a look at Camilla's. If Gellan and Camilla were involved together, and there could be 2 murderers, but we need to make sure.
I can take you down to the room that Anders and Camilla share.
Yes. Thank you, please.
Okay. She takes you down through the hatch on the main deck, down the stairs, down the long corridor, first door to the right. The rain's falling really heavily. You can see it falling outside the porthole at the end of the corridor, but the porthole's shut, so there's no rain getting in or anything. She opens the door up to the first door on the right. It's a large cabin containing a large double bed, a rug, a desk, a footlocker, and a wardrobe.
I want, again, looking for an obsidian dagger, any evidence of magic use in books, scribes, scrolls, and I want to try and focus on Camilla's belongings.
So, sorry, what are you looking through?
Go for the wardrobe first.
The wardrobe contains several sets of spare clothing, all of very nice, well-to-do cut.
Can I check the pockets of her clothing?
You can. I mean, most of her clothing doesn't have pockets. It's things like beautifully cut and long dresses and things like that.
I'll bang the back and the sides of the wardrobe to see if there's any hidden.
Make a perception check for me.
Compartimentos.
You don't find anything unusual, and you're pretty sure it's just a standard wardrobe.
Right. There's no boxes at the base of the wardrobe, is there anything? Bags, sacks, cases?
No, there's a footlocker next to the bed, and there's the desk.
Tiberius, would you do the honours of seeing if that footlocker opens?
Give it a kick.
The footlocker is locked.
I'll force it.
Okay. Okay, make an athletics check for me, please. Okay, you do manage to open it, but you have to really give it a good crank with your sword. You smash the box into the side of the bed as it does so. It opens, spilling some jewellery out onto the floor, but in the act of sort of opening the box, the jewellery sort of scatters along the floor and all the glass in it smashes. There's also a letter falls out of the box.
I'll examine the letter. What do we have here? Ah, Sharon knows about this.
Lord.
Oh dear.
Are you reading this out, Tiberius?
Take it, you are. Sorry, I can't interrupt.
My eyes bulge as Tiberius reads this out. Gellan knows, dearest Camilla, Gellan knows about us. The damn butler must have eyes on the back of his head. We're always so careful. Kraken only knows how we found out. If he tells Anders, it's bad news for both of us. You don't need to worry. I have a plan. I'm going to take care of it. With love, Gellan.
So he's got the diamonds. He's got the father's diamond in his lock chest. He's got the fucking dagger.
Yeah.
And now we've got this love letter. Right, let's go and just fill this guy in. Come on.
Let me just check.
No, I'm going now.
I just want to check the desk before we go, in case there's anything extra.
Right, okay, I'll check the desk.
Nail this.
The desk has got some notes and records regarding the Seymour Fishing Company that Anders was obviously going over at some point. That's about it.
You just pull the drawers out and check it behind the drawers, or see if there's any fake compartments.
Make a perception check for me. You don't find any?
No secret compartments that I can find.
I'll have a look. As soon as I'm
you don't see any either, Tiberius.
Okay.
Well, I'll just turn around to Misty. Well, Misty, it seems we have quite a case building up here. Quite a case.
Before we say anything, when we walk back into the room where everybody is, we should go over and whisper into Atticus' ear so he knows what's going on, so he can be ready if it.
Okay, I'll just nod.
Kicks off.
Yes.
Hold my hands up like, what the fuck's going on? Can somebody tell me what's going on, please?
But yeah, when we get back to them, we'll, yeah.
Are we heading back then?
Yeah, we're going to grab you guys when we get back.
So whilst all this has been going on, Atticus and Kat, we're going to do some questioning.
I'm just basically trying to buy us time because I know that they're going to find the daggers. So,
is there anything anyone you want to talk to specifically, or anything you're trying to ask them specifically, Atticus or Kat?
I'll just slowly pace around the table, really like Ponzi. Listen, we already know who the killer is. We've discussed it, and we're willing to give you a chance to admit to the crimes, the chance of some leniency in your sentence. And then I'll turn around at Mormac and I go, Mormac, why don't you start by telling us why you sat where you did during dinner?
Well, I certainly hope you're not implying that I have anything to do with this. My father will hear about this if you are.
Oh, nothing of the sort. I'm just curious as to why you chose that particular seat.
Because I wanted to speak to Wardle and he was already sitting there. So I sat next to him.
I'll say nothing and then carry on pacing around the table. And, Commander, you've shown us much objection in our investigation. What implies such incompetence in our work?
I never said you were incompetent. But I said that there are other people here like myself better qualified for this kind of thing than 4 strangers who none of us know.
Mm-hmm. And I'll just carry on pacing around the table and just asking stupid, useless questions, really. Keep them busy until they come back in.
Atticus, anything you would like to do?
I'm just standing quietly by the door. watching how everybody reacts.
Mr. Baron.
I'll look at the orc. Yes, orc.
I need to go make pee-pee.
Look at him.
He starts shuffling from foot to foot. Okay, well, if you're not doing anything, then Tiberius, Rodri, and Misty come back into the room.
Rich is just making a drink.
Yes, not a word, Misty, till we've had a time to talk to our...
She nods.
And as soon as we...
She, can I just... Sorry, this is just going to take a second. I just need to whisper to somebody.
Who is it? Who is it going to be?
Alright, love. Whisper, whisper.
That's got to be Mark.
Okay, I just gently nod back. And keeping my eyes on Gellan from then on.
God, that was quick, Becky. Giftmeister. Yes, and Misty, be prepared for anything when we,
So, did you find anybody else on board?
We'd just like a minute to talk with, our fellows over there. If you just be patient with us, just for a
This is a joke.
few seconds.
Wardell goes and pours himself a big glass of wine and goes and stands in the corner and starts drinking.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your patience. We won't be a second. Right, we'll head over to Hecate and...
Is Rich back yet?
No, he's still
Okay.
clapping, doing a drink.
Going to do
Master.
my gift check.
Bishop gifts are so funny.
You sit on a throne of lies. What's the one the guy snorting the snow off the sign for? What's that in relation to?
I think he just found that funny. I don't know.
I'd have to ask him. Oh, that was when Rodri was smelling all the spices.
Oh right.
Oh, yeah. Funny.
Yeah.
Jammy Dodgers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
So, Rodri, you all come back into the room.
Let Rodri have his Poirot
And
moment.
Tiberius.
Well, yes, we head over to Atticus and Hecate and tell them about Misty's dagger we found in Gellan's locker. A diamond, which we need to recall that the father was missing, and that's why he snatched Carmilla's diamond from her neck, which is quite lucky it wasn't glass, and was a real one. And I pull the letter out, and you might want to read this. And hand the letter to Hecate and Atticus to read.
This is just between yourselves, you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tiberius is standing next to Gellan.
By the gods.
So, Tiberius, did you find anybody else on board?
No.
Let me guess. I'm whispering to Hecate and Rodri. Let me guess. It's to do with love.
It looks like it.
Oh.
I was also interested in. I noticed.
She's been visiting him.
Yes, Wardle Warrington was investigating something, and I noticed that he doesn't like Anders and Camilla. Maybe he had some inkling into it. I don't know. But
well, suppose you better break the news.
I wonder if before I just need to look under the table. You know that pitch? It seems that Camilla and Gellan were sitting quite a way away from Skerrin. I wonder if there's anything connecting that pitch to their end of the table, like a wire or anything. I'm just going to have a look under the table. Excuse me. And I'm going to go under the east side of the table where Gellan was sitting and.
Okay, he steps back.
And
raises an eyebrow questioningly at you. Make a perception check, please.
I'm going to use the light cantrip to light all that.
Okay, light suddenly blooms from under the table. You can see the sticky black circle of pitch, as I said, in the middle of the table, slightly to the south side. But there doesn't appear to be anything linking it to the east side of the table, or the west side for that matter.
What about north and south?
No, nothing to the north and south side.
What about northwest? No. Okay. Oh, well, that goes up theory. Okay. Back to the huddle. Who's going to lead?
You found the information out.
Okay. Let me just think.
So, did you find anybody else on board the ship?
No, but we did. Sorry. Forgery.
No.
We did. We found some very, very interesting items of information which fell into our hands while we were searching the cabins for stowaways.
Really? What did you find?
Well, several things that didn't want to be found, as they were.
I hope you didn't go searching people's rooms, Rodri.
Of course. Would we? Well, we wouldn't have needed to search if things weren't hidden in false bottoms of drawers or things like that. I just turn around to.
He looks around at everyone. My friends, I'm sorry. I did ask them not to search people's rooms.
Can I try an insight check into Gellan when I mentioned the false bottom in the drawer?
Yeah.
He didn't want us to check the rooms,
He seems. He seems curious. He is a little bit annoyed.
Right, well, straight down to it. We found a diamond.
What?
A diamond that Father Hayward was searching for mere moments after the attack. Could it be the one that he was missing?
Diamond?
Maybe it was.
Well, where was it?
I will come to that. We found...
Wardell turns round and looks at you.
Yes?
Maybe they're not as inept as I thought.
We found also a
Dagger.
Misty, would you show us what we found in one of the lockers? I'm afraid we had to go into.
She seems very reluctant. Fine. She takes the dagger out. This is one of the daggers that was stolen from my house.
We found that in the cabin of somebody here. Roger's enjoying this.
He's having his Poirot moment. That moment when Poirot walks down the room with his cane and tapping people.
But
it was all of you that killed him.
Mr. Skerrin, did you know aboard the ship, you have an enemy.
An enemy? What?
Did you
He
know
looks
you had...
questioningly over at Anders. No, I don't think so. I just served the Seymour family. Why would anyone be an enemy?
Indeed you do serve their family. Yes, an enemy that wanted to do you harm and very nearly took your life this evening.
Why would anyone want to do me harm? I don't understand what's happened this evening.
Why would anybody want to do you harm? Indeed, unless you knew something which would ruin the fortunes of somebody here.
Okay, just
Perhaps...
give me 1 second.
I want them to show themselves rather than us having to force the issue.
Scarin's eyes widen slightly. Oh, Mr. Melworth, please don't.
I'm afraid.
No, please, Mr. Melworth, don't. Mr. Anders, please, please don't, sir.
I'm afraid it's already too late for that. If we are to see justice for Father Wyndham, I'm afraid these things must come to light. Isn't that right, Commodore?
What's he talking? What's he talking about?
What's
he talking about, Scarin? Carmilla? What's he talking about? I don't know. Please, sir. Please, don't do this to Master Seymour. Please, sir, I beg you.
I'm afraid...
What's he talking about, Scarin?
I'm afraid, Master... What's Anders's... Seymour. I'm afraid, Mr. Seymour, I have some very disturbing news for you.
He looks from Scarin to Carmilla to you, very confused. What is it, Rodri? What have you found out? Scarin lowers his head to his hands, starts shaking his head. Carmilla suddenly blanches, very pale.
My dear, you appear to have gone very pale. Perhaps Gellan here could make sure you're alright, because I know he has certain
hold on here, Rodri. I think that's quite enough for one night.
As we found out in this letter.
What?
I was going to suggest keeping it quiet and twisting him to work for us.
Can you guess the contents of this letter, Gellan?
I've got no idea what you're talking about, Rodri.
Then why is it signed by none other than yourself?
Let me have a look at that. He walks over towards you.
I'll pull the paper out, I'll pull the letter away from him and start to read it. Dearest Carmilla, Scarin knows about us. The damn butler must have eyes on the back of his head. We were always so careful. Kraken only knows how we found out.
There's a sudden thud. Carmilla faints.
If he tells Anders, it's bad news for both of us. You don't need to worry. I have a plan. I'm going to take care of it.
I didn't write that letter. Give it here.
You have written your name on a piece of paper, and I'll go for that piece of paper that everybody signed their name on, and hold them together and see if their names, the handwriting matches.
Make a perception check.
I'll use my thingy and add a D4 to it as well.
Okay.
There it is. On a 3.
Okay. Just bear with me 1 second.
God, I hope they do. Otherwise, you're screwed.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, you say you did not write this letter, and yet the handwriting matches completely with the handwriting you wrote earlier this evening. How do you explain this, Gellan?
I never wrote this letter. And he says,
handwriting
look,
matches.
look, the G's a little bit bigger on my handwriting.
And guess where we found the dagger and the diamond?
I swear I never wrote it.
Guess where we found the dagger and the diamond?
I've got no idea where you found it.
And why was it in your footlocker? I think we have here a case of two illicit lovers. And poor Skerin here was the obstacle in their path.
Okay, I found it. Can you make an investigation check, please, Rodri?
Yeah.
I didn't write that. Look, you can see the angle of the G's different. He points it out to you, and you look at it. And then you notice a few inconsistencies in the way he signed his name. It's a forgery. It's a very good forgery.
You may have something, Gellan.
So Anders found out about it and then tried to frame him for the murder of. So Anders is it's Anders.
Who here?
Cyber starts getting really excited and then starts shuffling over towards.
Wardell puts his feet up on the table and starts laughing. I told you, Gellan. This is what happens when you put amateurs in control of an investigation.
I just standing there cursing under my breath. Shit. Who would try and frame you, Gellan?
I don't know. I don't understand what's going on. I asked you not to go through people's rooms.
Maybe
Anders, I did not write this letter. Anders isn't listening. He's got Carmilla's head on his lap, and he's just like stroking her face, and Skerin's fetching him a glass of water. He's trying to rouse her.
An affair because she fainted and she was anticipating it.
Maybe she.
And
Skerin was saying, "Please, no, don't do this to him." They were having an affair.
well, the fact remains that the motives is still here. And if somebody wanted to cause Skerin harm because of this liaison, I could only think that the
Carmilla
other injured party
to cough and come around.
Like I said at the start, Skerin did it to himself to implicate Gerin and Thingy to save Anders.
How are we going to prove that, though?
He was his very loyal servant.
Maybe question Skerin then.
They were very close.
Look, my friends, I promise you, I did not do this.
Can I do an insight check?
Anders looks up at Gellan. Gellan, what? I don't understand. I don't understand either, my friend. Carmilla's eyes flutter open. Anders? Anders? Yes, it's all right, Carmilla. You're okay. He gives her a big hug.
Still there.
Can we compare the writing on the letter to everyone else's signature?
Ooh! Yeah, good idea, Carty. Gather all the.
You can, but from what
It's a
Rodri can tell, the letter has been written to look like Gellan's handwriting. It's a forgery to look as though Gellan had written it.
Right.
But yeah, Procan only knows how he found out. Why would they use?
Well, they were arguing on the deck, weren't they, about something? So maybe they found out.
Who was arguing on the deck?
Wasn't it?
Gellan and Mormac.
Mormac was probably telling Gellan not to be fucking having an affair.
Look, my friends, I promise you, Father Hayward is an old friend of mine. Skerin is the butler of one of my best friends. I wouldn't do this. It's getting late. I think we all need to get some rest, sleep on this, and reconvene in the morning.
Gellan.
Yes, sir?
How are you feeling?
My throat's still a bit sore, but I'm feeling much better.
To what ends would you go to help your lord, Anders?
I've served Anders and his parents before him for many years. But
I didn't ask how long you served them. I said, to what ends would you...
I would do anything for them.
Anything?
Yes, of course. I wouldn't kill for them, sir.
Would you blackmail them?
It's all right, Skerin. It's not all right, sir. The letter may not be real, but I need to talk to you and Lady Seymour in private.
No, I think you'll talk to us. If you have something that'll bring light on the investigation, you will tell us right this minute.
Sir, this has nothing to do with the investigation. It's a private matter, I beg you. What are you talking about, Anders?
I'm watching Mormac through all of this. How's he reacting to things? He's very quiet.
Yeah. He's just watching everything. He's slightly bored, maybe. Make an insight check.
He was that far this way.
Yeah, he looks a little bored. Stifling the odd yawn.
Gellan, Urgab and Wexley really only wants to know where she lives. Why would Gellan try?
There's a sudden drumming sound of something hitting wood. Oh no.
Urgab, this
and a large pool of liquid is spreading out from Urgab's feet. I'm sorry.
Oh, Urgab, I think I need to take him to clean himself up.
Oh yeah.
They're going to throw themselves overboard. We're not going to find out anything else tonight. Everybody stay in your rooms and stay away from each other.
Yes, we'll sort this out in the morning. No one's going to throw themselves overboard. We're in the middle of the bloody ocean.
And I'll be prowling the halls to make sure no one does that, so just, you know.
Yeah, we'll be staying up all night.
We'll do a watch.
Okay.
I don't see why we can let them go to bed. I said we just sort it out now. Why should we fucking stay up all night watching their royal fucking asses?
Get on grouchy.
Just stab each other. No concern of mine.
Wardell wanders up to you, Atticus.
Commander.
Commodore.
Commodore. It's down as Commander on that seating arrangement.
Is it? Sorry, it's Commodore. Yeah.
Commodore.
Sorry, mate. We may have got off on the wrong foot. You've certainly uncovered something. I would suggest maybe letting people go to their rooms for the night and maybe setting a trap in case anything happens.
We'll be watching the halls.
He nods.
Yes, we'll all get a really good night's sleep. We can trust you all to stay in your rooms.
I'll start to yawn.
If it's all right with you, I would like to take Master Seymour and Mistress Carmilla back to our rooms and have a chat with them before we settle down.
Yes, do what you must.
I just look really annoyed. My big plans have failed. Yes.
Does that mean I can go back to my studies now, Gellan?
I suppose here.
I think so, Wexley. Can he?
Yes, all go about your businesses.
I think, as Tiberius said, let's go back to our cabins, lock the doors, and reconvene here in the morning. People get up nervously, watching each other.
They did so.
Slowly start departing the room, nervously, slightly paranoid, watching each other as they go.
Oh, I thought we had that.
We didn't find the obsidian dagger, did we?
No. The obsidian. There's no way to try and detect obsidian. I've got. I mean, somebody who's got the keys to Gellan's footlocker.
There's still quite a few people with motives.
Some bastards.
It's a murder mystery. Everyone's going to have a motive. Okay, so what are you guys doing? Everyone goes to their cabins. You can watch them go. They do all go back to their own cabins.
Setting up a watch. So.
Okay, where are you positioning yourselves? So just to let you know, your rooms on the lowest deck are your 4 rooms at the back of the ship.
Yeah.
The galley where Ergalb sleeps is just off the engine room, and past the engine room is Wexley's room. On the lower deck, to the west of the dining hall, are Anders and Carmilla's room. Next to that is Skerin's room, and then Father Wyndon's room and Mormac's room are opposite. Misty's room is to the east of the dining room.
So we should get our people with dark vision to sit at the most kind of visual points where to get from one room to another you've got to pass through that catches the most.
Well, on each of the decks there's a long corridor that runs east to west, and there's 2 rooms to the north and 2 rooms to the south. So if you put someone in that corridor on the lower deck, they could watch Father Wyndon's room, Mormac's room, Anders and Camilla's and Skerin's.
Yeah.
If you did that on the lower deck, they could watch your rooms. You'd have to put someone in the engine room to watch the galley and Wexley's room. And on the very top deck, there is a short corridor separating Gellan and Warrington's rooms.
So I think the ones between Gellan and Warrington's rooms and Mormac's and all their rooms are the most important. So the ones with dark vision, I think, should go there.
Okay.
Yeah, plus if anybody comes from that engine room with Wexley and whatever, they'd still have to...
So who's going on the top deck by Gellan and Wardell?
Got that.
I'll go on the middle deck. I've got dark vision. And I can watch all both rooms.
So that's you then, Picarte, around between Gellan and...
Cat. The middle deck is going to be Tiberius. What are Rodri and Atticus? Where are they going to go?
I'll keep an eye on the engine room.
Okay.
What do you want me to do?
You should be a floater, go round and make sure everybody stays awake.
That's a good idea. Who's going to make sure I can stay awake? I'll be snoring.
If you fall asleep, we'll know because there'll be a thud.
Do you need some rest to get some spells back? Then have a rest.
No, I just need a short rest.
Well, maybe take 15 minutes and then have a walk around and check everybody. Everybody will be doing their job for the first 15 minutes.
I could, and I could periodically go up on the deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the thing is as well, that's kind of a bit more like a trap, is because if they think you're the one wandering around keeping look, they'll wait until you've gone and then they might move. But of course, Hecate or Tiberius will catch them for me.
Little do they know, there's a wolfie in the darkness.
So I could like, from our rooms, I could leave our rooms, go to the Solmore's corridor, and then to the engine room, and then Wyndham's corridor and then up on the deck and make it quite obvious that I've gone up.
Like you're on a proper patrol. Make it super obvious.
I'll use my light cantrip then, and they might see it pass under the doors and then disappear.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's a good idea.
And then cast it somewhere on the deck of the ship so it looks like I'm still up there. Sneak.
I did say earlier I wasn't being quiet when I spoke to the Commodore, and I said, "Don't worry, we'll walk the corridors."
We are the champions.
Right, I'm going to take 15 minutes in my room. Have a short rest.
Wind it
up. Okay.
And then I will cast, and then after that, cast the light cantrip.
Okay.
Walk down next corridor once, and then head up onto the deck.
Okay, so you lay your plans. Kat heads up to the top deck and makes herself comfortable in the short corridor separating Gellan's and Wardell's room. As you go up on deck, the rain is still falling heavily, Kat. Tiberius heads to the middle deck and places himself in the long corridor between... who was on the middle deck again? Sorry.
Tiberius.
Got a lot of plates juggling here. Between Skerin, Anders and Carmilla, Mormac and Father Wyndham's room. Atticus heads to the engine room. It's quite noisy in there. Atticus, you're certainly not going to be getting any rest. As you escort Galb and help him get cleaned up. And Wexley heads off past the far side of the engine room to his chambers. And you start the watch for the night. I would like... Oh, let me just check something first. So, any bloody windows open?
Did I manage to get my short rest?
You did manage to get your short rest, yes. Do you want me to assign a short rest to everyone? Do I need to do that for you to get...
No, I'll just put that... I'll just untick that spell. That was... Okay.
Right, just bear with me 1 second.
Oh, before we would have left as well, I meant to say earlier, and I forgot, we would have secured the knife and the vial and stuff like that.
Okay. Yep, makes sense.
I wouldn't just left it there on the table.
Right, Kat, can you make a perception check for me, please?
Yep.
Okay.
Was that 78?
It was 78, correct.
Fuck!
What the fuck is that?
Well,
okay, well, about an hour passes. It's the early hours of the morning, and your danger sense starts to tingle, Kat. Can you make an arcana check for me, please?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, you stifle a yawn, but the danger passes. The danger sense goes away. Rodri does his patrols. The night seems quiet apart from the rain drumming down onto the roof above you. And then suddenly... No! No! A scream comes from a room to the north of you, Tiberius.
Sorry, I just heard like the dogs. I just heard Tiberius.
There's a terrible scream comes from one of the rooms to the north of you, Tiberius.
Right, I'll sprint towards it.
Okay.
No! No!
I'll use my dash action. I'll just
The other door just down the corridor opens. What's going on? What's going on?
Freight train coming through.
Okay, yeah, you reach the door.
And the 8 train.
You fling the door open. Inside, you see Anders and Carmilla's room. Anders is kneeling on the bed, screaming. Carmilla is lying on the bed with an obsidian dagger stuck in her eye. And we will leave the session there for tonight.